Waiting.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Casual,
Yes.
the talk show you guys talk about. And Jonathan's going to bring us in with a little music.
All right,
Like always.
Jonathan.
Yes. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jonathan. Went a little longer tonight because we do not have a musical guest.
Mm-hmm. And I had to completely butcher that right at the start to trip over my own feet and the like, but it is what it is.
Well, you did a little laughing there like Jake Allen does when he,
Yes, I get
Yeah,
yes.
Jake Allen.
You've got different color hair now.
Yeah, I know. I didn't like the other one. I put on the wrong one. So
from
now
like
I'm
5 minutes ago when we just started to get ready for the
theoretically,
stream.
I could just have a different one on every time you see me, but
Renee's going to do
that's
that
actually
too.
Apropos because Halloween, October is finally here, and
yes,
this is the season I get most excited about. I mean, a lot of people are into the Christmas thing, a lot of people are into the Thanksgiving thing, but me, yeah, this is my month. I love to dress up. You know that. I love to do this thing. And again, one of the jobs that I had was for 3 years, I worked as a scare actor in a place called Skull Kingdom. And I've actually also worked in a place called Petrified Forest. I did that in 2019 before the pandemic. And again, we're going to have a couple of shows this month. Tonight is one of them where we're going to talk about that kind of thing and more. On the 26th, we're going to have a bunch of scare actors that I worked with here in Central Florida on for kind of a reunion, and we're going to tell stories about where we were. And tonight we have two very special guests that we'll bring up in just a minute. One of them is now the creative director at Gatorland here in Florida. He does all kinds of crazy events and stuff there, and has a lot of fun with that. And the other one makes stilt beasts and monsters for scare attractions around the country, and he does these great masks, and he's a very creative guy. And I met these guys back in 2000, 1999, 2000 when we were working at Skull Kingdom. But we'll get into that in a minute. We got a video. We get a lot of videos from people wanting to come on the show. Yep. The show's actually starting to get out there. It's starting to, people are starting to watch, and it's spreading. And there was a guy that was on. He was on the Howl's place, the bar thing the other night, right?
Yeah, he came into the bar. Yeah, he came into happy hour.
And now he wants to come on our show, and he sent us a little. Would you call it an audition tape?
I think it's an audition tape, but
he thinks it is.
He thinks he has a lot to offer us, and so
let's put him up. You can see what you can see him, and let's make the call. You guys can tell us in the comments. Should we bring him on?
Okay, yeah, the fans could weigh in and just see if you think he's got what it takes.
Yeah,
let's see.
He is interesting.
Woo! How y'all doing tonight? I guess you would call this here a kind of an audition tape. I want to get on your show. I really like It's Casual. It's a cool show. I like all the people that come on there. They're very interesting. My name is Jack. My friends call me Mad Jack. And I live in Las Vegas, out in the desert. And I'm a prospector. And you know, they got all them reality TV shows on now about prospectors. Well, I want to be on one of them shows. So I figure maybe if I get on It's Casual, somebody will see me. And then I'll get my own show. So I'm real excited about that. So I hope y'all can let me come on. And we'll talk for a little while, and I'll tell you about how I spend my weekends in the city. Or maybe not. Maybe that's R-rated or X-rated. I don't know. Anyway, I'm in a hotel bathroom right now. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Well, I really like his smile.
Oh boy, it got a little racy at the end. That took a turn. I don't think any of it expected.
He said he was in a hotel bathroom.
So make of that what you will. Could be Las Vegas. It could be somewhere in the Florida Panhandle. I don't know.
I think the fans liked him. I think he gets some positive review. At least he's interesting. He's not boring. And you know, he is interesting.
That is for sure.
Yes.
Mad Jack. So who knows? Maybe we'll have him on the show.
I'm just going to give a vote. I'm going to say yes because I think he could spice things up. He's a little spicy.
I think he's spicy. Yeah, he can spice things up a little too much, maybe.
Ooh.
Rory is not convinced yet.
Gosh knows what kind of tales this guy would tell.
Well, I feel like maybe he should do a second audition tape to get you over.
We'll have to see.
I think he can convince you.
Again, we still haven't had the Purple Terror on yet, so
We do need to have
I mean, he sent us a couple of tapes, but I just haven't quite made up my mind to bring him on yet.
I think his career is really ascending. The Purple Terror is getting some traction, so you might want to reconsider.
All right. So again, tonight we have a very special show. Again, these guys, I haven't really chatted with them in a long time. I went away to China, obviously, for 15 years, and they went on to do other things. But let's go ahead and bring them up. Dan Carro and Alan Hobbs.
Hello.
There y'all are.
Hi.
Alan, can I call you Wolfie still?
You can call me Wolfie, absolutely.
He loves werewolves. The guy is just all about the werewolves. He loves them. So we call him Wolfie. And can I tell the audience how you got that name?
You certainly can.
Okay. Here's what I heard. Okay. I wasn't there, but he played a werewolf character that was banned from the house because it was so scary that he scared a girl into the parking lot and she ran into an ice cream truck.
Oh,
yes. Yes.
She wasn't hit by the ice cream truck. She just ran into it, right?
Now, I was technically called Wolfie before that, but that incident is true.
Sealed the deal.
The incident cemented the name for sure, but that wasn't where the name came from.
Okay.
At that point, I was not as well versed in what should happen before you get their money and what should happen after you get their money. It's all about procedure and when things happen at the right time.
Okay, so you guys actually met in a place called Terror on Church Street. Am I correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, and that was at the time the premier haunt attraction in Orlando. And it was your basic, hey, we've rented a large space and we're going to turn it into a cool haunted house. And they did that for a few years.
They were really one of the first major year-round haunted houses anywhere. And I think they really kind of like set the standard for what a haunted attraction was. Like they kind of
what it should be.
I had never seen anything like it when it came out, and I remember I was watching I was in high school and I was watching some like news magazine at 2 a.m. and they did a thing on them. And I was like, I have to get to this and go see it, and it was in this old Woolworths building. So the building was really old and scary anyway, all hardwood floors and smelled like mildew when you went in. And the sets were incredible and super detailed. And just, it was a kitchen sink haunt, but they were really kind of pioneering this. Then every room was just amazing and detailed, and you were in there for a long time. It was a pretty long show too, so
yeah.
Most of the time when you have a year-round haunted attraction, they come in at a low budget, and it's they're not necessarily spectacular. They're a lot of fun. There's a lot of kitsch to them, but they're not necessarily a high budget show. And Terror on Church Street really broke the mold on that. And they, it looked like they spent $1 million on their show.
Yeah,
right.
You're walking through 360 degree sets with like incredible detail and an awesome gimmick in like every room that you went through. I mean, it was amazing. Like I still haven't seen anything, like it as far as like just the tone and atmosphere that it was able to create in some of those rooms.
And even knowing what I know now I'm very involved in haunted houses. I'm on the Haunted Attraction Association board of directors. I do a lot of teaching for haunts. I do a lot of training all over the country. Right. And Terror on Church Street has had a great name. They were probably considered the best haunt in the country for a couple years there. Yeah. So while it seems like an Orlando thing to Orlando people, to haunted house people, that was a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah. Now I heard, unfortunately, I never got through it. I kept saying, okay, I got to go through there. And I never got through the darn place. And I really kicked myself in the butt for not going through it because they were still open when Skull Kingdom was open. And I heard that they had a Linda Blair exorcist room. What were some of the other rooms that they had there?
I mean, we could probably take you through every single room that they had there. Al and I were trained in most of the rooms except Exorcist. I never played that.
You enter, and the first set you enter into is called London Alley, and you're walking through. It's like you're in a London alley. There's laundry hanging. There's all the back windows and back.
You would hear carriages go by in the background, like the soundtrack had like that clip clop, like like horses on cobblestone.
Yeah.
And from there, you end up going into a crypt where
the eternal dwellers.
Yeah, this big sliding iron door opens up and they let you in.
We are the eternal dwellers of Church Street, and we bid you welcome. And so you have this kind of cult feel in the beginning. They brought you into the altar set, and they were, that's basically was the setup. And you were just in the, like the eternal dwellers were going to like show you your worst fears, and you were going to go into the next, area from there. Mm-hmm. So
now, were they escorted through the entire event, or?
No, you went room to room. Like from there, you went into a large cemetery set. Do some prison cells. You went up the stairs. There was a witch type thing called Up Creature waiting up there. Mm-hmm. You had a torture chamber set. From the torture chamber set, I think you were in Renfield.
Dracula,
yeah. Then there
Renfield,
was
Dracula
a cave set that you went through. It looked like you were underneath the cemetery and the coffins were kind of falling in. Then Phantom of the Opera. Then the attic.
Yeah.
From the attic, it was like this scary, creepy old attic set, and then a trapdoor opened. You were in Freddy's boiler room, and Freddy was on a pneumatic lift thing, and he kind of like flew by.
I want to make a note. They actually paid to have the license of Freddy Krueger.
Right.
It wasn't just a haunt that ripped them off. They actually paid for licensing.
I don't think they paid for every other character, but I know they paid for that one.
They did not pay for any of the other ones.
Yeah.
But yes, they did pay
they
for
did
Freddy.
pay for him. Then you went into a clown set, then the Exorcist, the morgue, toxic, like a toxic reactor leak thing, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Island of Dr. Moreau. Norman Bates, yeah, Psycho, and then Hannibal Lecter, and then Leatherface, which was my favorite.
Wow.
So
how long was it to walk through that?
It was about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. That's incredible.
It was a good show.
Yeah. So okay, so you're in this great haunted attraction, and how was it that you came to? You guys were part of the creative team that made Skull Kingdom, right? Both of you.
Yes.
Not on purpose.
Yeah.
But yes.
Stumbled into it.
So how did that happen?
Well, we worked together at Terror on Church Street. We both left Terror on Church Street. Kept in touch, on and off. But there wasn't internet or anything, so it's not like we were like seeing each other on Facebook. We just call each other, run into each other now and then every few months.
There was internet, but no social media. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm driving down iDrive and I see what I thought was Castle Grayskull going up. I got all excited because I'm like, there's a He-Man attraction and I'm going to go work there, you know? So I get there and I ask for an interview because I don't even know what it is. And I find it's a haunted house. Great. I'm going to do a haunted house, you know, Skull Kingdom. And I got hired to be part-time there. And I show up and the place is, they're still under construction. And it's kind of a mess. Like they were trying to do like a haunted family attraction. So it was going to be like PG rated and guests could kind of just go wherever they wanted to and wander around. I wasn't, they had a photo op in the very middle, like Ripley's does, you know, like I'm not sure, nothing was really going to work, you know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of walking around a little dismayed, like, I don't know if this place is going to even get open or how it's going to work out. And then Wolfie comes walking around the corner and there's a familiar face. I'm like, Wolfie, hey, Dan, we're going to be okay. You know, and that was it. And then, you know, I think that what was very cool about the managers and the owners were they kind of knew that they were on the wrong track at first. And they started asking the cast, especially the people that had worked at other haunts, like, you know, hey, what could we do here? And they listened to us and they let us contribute.
That was, of course, Trevor and Doug.
Yep, they were awesome people. Like they were great to work with and deal with, and they let us contribute. Like
Rene, do you have a picture of Skull Kingdom that I sent to you? Can we show that?
Yeah, give me just a second.
We got a couple of pictures.
I'm gonna add on to kind of what Dan said. I mean, this was a very formative time. It was right after I was out of high school. I left high school in Maryland in order to work at Terror on Church Street. And then from Terror on Church Street, I went to Skull Kingdom.
If I may, he left Maryland on a moped with the duffel bag slung over his shoulder with his Wolfman costume in it. I don't even think he brought clothes. I think he brought clothes when he got to Florida. And he drove from Maryland to Orlando on a moped with his werewolf costume because that's how bad he wanted to work.
Just because he wanted to work on a haunted house. Okay, this is Skull Kingdom at night.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at was it was a wonderful place to grow up.
Yeah.
Because really we were, you know, you're an adult now. Boom, suddenly. It used to be that people were adults when they turned 18. I think that has shifted to like 30 years old now.
Right.
Like 30 is the new 18. But it used to be like, oh, you're an adult now. It's like, well, crap, I have to do adult stuff. And the job that I wanted was working in a haunted house. So I had to go where the work was.
I want to work with a circus.
Dress for the job you want. So he wore a Wolfman costume everywhere he went.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, but it was all of these people who were, you know, roughly my age and some a little older and maybe some a little younger. But we were all kind of growing up. And it was a wonderful cultural thing to be around that many creative people that were given a little bit of creative license, maybe too much sometimes.
But and that's the other thing too is that of all these people that were working there, you know, I had at that point worked at one or two different haunts, and you know, including Terror. But at Terror, you went in, you did your job, you went home. You know, and what was cool about Skull Kingdom was that everyone that was there, you know, the core performers that were there, all had different talents and specialties, whether they realized it or not. And by working together the way that we did, it, you know, everyone was teaching each other, you know, even though we didn't realize it. So it's like, you know, we were all learning scenic from one guy and how to do characters from another guy. And, you know, Wolfie showing people how to do impacts. And, you know, so you became very well-rounded, you know, from working there and interacting with each other the way that everyone did. You know, like everyone was very generous with each other with, you know, oh, how'd you do that? Oh, you know, hey, I like that voice you just did. Or, you know, like, hey, try this for your character. I got you this prop. You know, like everyone, it was pretty close knit. And, you know, I know that I don't think I'd be where I am, you know, doing what I'm doing the way I do it if it wasn't for what I learned at Skull Kingdom, you know.
I most certainly would not be where I run a haunted house in Orlando, in Dallas area now, in Plano, Dark Hour.
I'm running a haunted house in Orlando. Finish the set, do that.
Right.
Come do that.
But every time I cast a show and I'm thinking about, I build a room and I think about actors who I worked with at Skull Kingdom at Terror on Church Street. And wouldn't they be great in this room? Or I need a type of person like that. I need a person like Jinx. I need a person like Rory. I need a person like Dan, you know? And it's just, it was wonderful to be around so many great archetypes, which really help me, you know, just build and learn and grow. It was a pretty awesome place to grow up, and places like that are still out there, you know.
Oh yeah.
You just have to, you know, dive into it, and you have to sometimes be willing to ride a moped from Baltimore to Orlando in order to capitalize on it. I think that we're a little flooded with the internet right now, and everything is right there at your fingertips. And there's a wonderful social aspect to taking risks and just jumping in with a crew of people who you've never met and trusting your creativity to get you out of problems and trusting theirs to not let you get in them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, actually it does for me, especially because when I came into Skull Kingdom, I was an actor, just an actor, you know, and I'd done some stand-up comedy, and I had never done any scare acting, and you guys were a little rough on me in the beginning because, you know, my ego is my worst, you know, my worst enemy is my own ego. I mean, I put pictures of me and Leslie Nielsen up in my locker, and you guys were like, who the hell is this guy? It took me a while to get into the groove, you know, there. But once I got into the groove, I mean, it all clicked. And again, I ended up staying 3 years. I went there, you know, to challenge myself as an actor, and I ended up staying for over 3 years. And then when it was, you know, when I felt it was time to go, you know, it was time to move on. And you guys did the same thing.
Haunted attractions are my calling. Like working in a haunt, that's if you believe in God or whatever that higher power is, if you believe in that, then I firmly believe that I was told you need to work in haunted houses. That's what you need to do. That's your purpose on this earth. So yeah, when I was younger, maybe I took them a little too serious, and I was a little hard on folks, and I was like, no, listen, this is serious business. But the hill I'm going to die on even today is that a haunted attraction is legitimate business, and it has every right to function. You know, it is just as prestigious as a mini golf place or any other place. You know,
time out.
Bad example.
Let me say this. I can't believe you went to mini golf with it, but the thing I say with haunted attractions, like I'm not super into the horror and that kind of thing. But what I love about haunted attractions, what I always say is it's the most intimate form of theater, you know? So, you know, if someone's on stage performing, you have a stand-up comic or just singer or something, an audience could clap for them because they feel bad for them. You know, they weren't good, but they clap, you know, nobody wets themselves to make a performer feel better. You know, like you as a performer get someone to evacuate their bowels, you've done a great job, you know, and that's
nobody hits the floor or runs into an ice cream truck. Yeah.
Your audience is
you know, you've done your work.
Stage with you, you know, and if you're doing it right, they become a character. Like they're part of the story. Like they're the hero and you're the villain, and you know, they're immersed like more than any video game can do, more than any Broadway show can do, more than a movie can do. And that's what I love about it, you know, that I'm acting and performing and I'm this character, but the guest is in the scene too, part of it, you know? So that's what I love about haunted houses, you know? It's not just legit.
Sidney would tell you that what he loved about it was he could insult the guests.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
And get away with it.
Technology evolves way faster than we do. We still have animal brains. We still 100% have the brains of animals.
Right.
Our brain, there are chunks of our brain that doesn't know we invented the internet. It doesn't know we invented the telephone.
Right.
So part of our brain remembers us sitting around a fire and something would come out of the darkness and grab your friend, grab your relative,
drag them off,
drag them back into the dark, and you would hear them being eaten. Your brain remembers that. Yep. And why are we afraid of the dark? Why are we afraid of all these things that we have conquered and tamed?
Right.
And there's so many things now that it's dumb to be afraid of. It is dumb to have stress from a mortgage. It is dumb to have stress from student loans. It is dumb to have stress from a custody battle for your child. Those are kind of ridiculous modern day things that
they're constructs that we made up that we worry about,
and they cause us a great deal of stress.
Yeah, ancient man's stress was something's going to eat you, right?
But you need something like a haunted attraction or a scary movie to put a face on that stress, make it okay to scream about it, make it okay to let that stress out, and then you feel better.
The thing I say, I mean, I agree with them 100%. Like the way I explained to my performers that people are coming to a haunted attraction to confront death and confront danger and to come out unscathed. Like you are, whether you realize it or not, like you're testing yourself. You know, this is the way Wolfie's talking about how in the old, ancient times, something was hunting you, or trying to kill you. And that's something that would happen to us primally. Like we still have that desire for adventure and survival and that type of thing, and that's what we're doing. Like and you do have things that we should be afraid of today. Like you could be afraid of muggers or carjackers or terrorists on a plane or something like that, but nobody wants to experience that for fun, so we make up metaphors for stuff like that, like guys with chainsaws and zombies and things like that. And now we can confront things that are fantastical, that can, and out of the ordinary, that can kill us and stuff like that, and come out unscathed, and that's what
you have an alley set, but you don't put a mugger in it. You put, Jason from Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you put something that is absurd, and a metaphor for real dangers, but we get to confront them and survive them. And even going beyond what Wolfie's talking about here with, how we're primarily wired, like, we as the creators of haunts, like, you get to think of things like when you get a group together, you put 8 people together, even if they're strangers, they become a pack. One of them becomes the alpha, whether everyone in the group realizes it or not. One guy is the alpha, somebody is the weak one, that type of thing. And it's like, so now I train my actors, look for the alpha. Like it's easy to scare the women and kids. Find that Marine in the group and get him to jump, because then you broke the whole group and now they're easy. It's like, but it all comes back to how we're wired primally, and then you get to go in and figure that stuff out and think about these things that we don't think about as modern people and put them in the show and entertain and immerse people and scare them using that stuff. Wolfie, am I right? I mean,
absolutely. And what you were saying earlier about, no one wets themselves to make a comedian feel better, I mean, it's that's very true.
Actually, my producer Rene does, but we won't go.
That's very nice of her.
One of the things that is remarkable about haunted houses is that the guests are in it also. So you can have a situation where you have an actor who's threatening a child, and the whole group has gone through a door, and then that actor is right over that kid with a knife, and the door opens, and the dad grabs the kid and pulls him out, and then slams the door, and then, the kid's safe. A haunted house just brought a father and son closer together. Haunted house just made that kid's dad a hero.
Right.
No matter what's going on in his life, whether he's an accountant or not.
Or on the other hand, there have been times where we're scaring people and the boyfriend pushes the girlfriend between him and the monster, and I will go into what I call character light and say, remember this, like, young lady, this is what he's made of. Enjoy your night. It's like, because that's a thing. Like, it revealed this guy didn't put her behind him when you jumped out. He did that, and it's like, is this who you want to be married to? All right. The masks come off, your fight or flight kicks in, and you find out what kind of person you are,
I think it's great when a group comes in or a couple of people come in and they are like, oh, I know this is fake, this is not real, and then you get them in your attraction, and it's like, wow, this is much different than I thought it was going to be, and they get that adrenaline rush, and they're laughing when they come out, but they're seriously scared when they're in there, because it's like, oh wow, this is like a whole different level of what I was expecting.
Yeah,
that's always great.
You have to walk a line between realism, so they believe that they're in the environment that they're in, and fantasy, so that they know it's safe to be scared.
There was a haunt that I went to once, and they didn't last long. And I was going through the haunt, and they had a plant in there, and the plant, it was in the group, and he's like, "Ow, they bit me." And there's a guy in the group, and he's like, "No, for real, did he bite you?" "Yeah, a guy just bit me." Like, "I don't know. Did he really bite you?" "Yeah, I want out. I want to get out of here." And like, he started freaking out, and he started trying to leave because he thought the actor was really biting people. Because someone in the group who was dressed in regular clothes, said he got bit. And then he was trying to force his way out. And one of the other actors, who didn't see what happened in the previous room, called security, and security and a sheriff came in and threw the guy on the ground and cuffed him and dragged the guest out, And it wasn't his fault. Like, it was a really poor haunted house with a very bad idea, and didn't understand that don't lie to your guests. Tell a story and let them be part of the story, And it went really wrong. And that was I was young when I saw that, but that was a lesson for me. Like, I gotta make sure I never do that in my haunts,
Well, here's something that's a kind of a strange phenomenon. You mentioned that there was a clown room in Terror on Church Street, and there was definitely a clown room in Skull Kingdom. What has happened this last 30 years where people are so terrified of clowns?
Because clowns scared them when they were little kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you go to the circus, or I remember going to the Mercado.
Happy balloons.
Sure. I went to the Mercado in Orlando with my sister. We were little kids, and there was a mime there, and my sister looked at me and goes, Mommy, I want to see the clown. And he yelled at her like, "I'm not a clown," and scared the crap out of her. She started crying. It's like, she's always been a little nervous around people with white face paint after that. It's
wait, the mime yelled?
Like,
that's very unmime-like.
He was a good mime. Like, clown? I'm not a clown.
So, Rory, remember I mentioned our animal brains a while ago? In the animal world,
I know.
In the animal world, anything that is brightly colored as a warning. Either I am poisonous if you try to eat me, or I am venomous and I will kill you. So children very much still have animal brains. And when you see this brightly colored person, what are they warning us about? What are they trying to tell us?
But Ringling Brothers, they're supposed to be happy. They're supposed to be nice and fun.
Ringling Brothers, that's a little bit different, though. I mean, when they're at a distance and they're doing it right, again, it goes to whether or not you're doing the entertainment the right way or not. Like a clown on stage doing, Red Skelton, things like that, Emmett Kelly, that's totally different. When you got one who's not good at it, showing up at your birthday party and you're a 5-year-old kid, and he's like, honk, honk, I smell my flower, or whatever. It's like, that's huge, and that's a little traumatizing. And then they get in their head, I'm scared of clowns.
Somewhere around the 70s and 80s, there was a turn. And again, it's so many people now are terrified. I mean, terrified of clowns.
Yeah.
But
it's a strange phenomenon.
People now are terrified of everything.
Yes.
Like in general, they're terrified of everything. I think the amount of just straight phobias have gone huge. It's the internet. It is the fact that now we can all communicate, and one person says, "I'm afraid of something with a lot of little holes in it." Me too.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you have a new phobia that's being created.
The Me Too scam movement.
If you just minded your own business, you wouldn't have any issue, and this phobia wouldn't have shown up.
It's almost like being a hypochondriac, but with your phobias. Like, how you get a cough or something, so you Google whatever your symptoms are, and it's like, and you go down the rabbit hole and it's a thing like that too. It's like, oh, you're scared of it. Oh, I guess I'm scared of that too. And then that's it. Like, once you declare you're afraid of something, you're afraid of it.
As a society, we know too much.
Right.
We have too much access to information, and our brain is equipped to process the information that our eyes give us, our ears give us, our nose gives us, and our mouth gives us, and our skin. That is what our brain is meant to process. When you start giving us all the information that everybody else is taking in, we're starting to break down a little bit. We know too much. So of course we're afraid of clowns, because maybe I could be afraid of clowns. So I better just do that to be safe.
Our sense of fear.
Yeah.
That's our sixth sense.
Absolutely.
Alan, or I'm sorry, Dan, you went on after Skull Kingdom and you became a pirate for a while. Talk about a great job for a grown-up who wants to stay a kid. You went on to Pirates Dinner Theater, right?
Yeah, I was I was art director over there, but I got to dress as a pirate quite often and do events, and I got to do a haunt over there and stuff. And so it was fun. Like I got to wear a lot of different hats when I was there. I am. Yep. Got to wear a lot of different hats, tricorn hats mostly. But it was a fun job, and I learned a lot when I was over there. But I was doing sales, marketing, did some of the show writing. I'd make props. I did their brochures, billboards, write and direct their commercials, and I would do character events like that for them. So yeah, it was pretty great.
And you, there was a monster museum that you were helping with the coordination.
Alan and I did. That was Alan and I did that at Scarborough Fair. So when we were at Skull Kingdom,
both of them. Okay,
we would, when we weren't working, go to Barnes and Noble and research monsters and make sketches and draw up stuff. We were going to open a monster museum. Like he had this idea. We was like, Dan, you and I are going to build this monster museum, and we're going to go do Ren fairs with it. I was like, I don't really want to do a monster museum. Like he's like, but we can be monsters. I was like, I don't want to be a monster. He goes, what if you're a monster hunter? Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So he's like, I'll be a monster. You be the monster hunter, and we're going to do this monster museum. I'm like, great. So we designed, this monster museum. He was going to be the troll, and it was going to be all the trophies of all the stuff I caught, and killed over the years that you go inside and see. And then he moved to Dallas, and we didn't talk. Talked on and off for a few years, and then he calls me one day, and he's like, "We're doing the monster museum." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I found a spot. We're putting it on credit cards. Fly up here. We're doing it." And we went and found all the drawings and stuff we did, and we opened a monster museum. So,
I remember that you guys shot a video. Was it Creature Quest around the castle?
So that was back.
There was a lot of after hours activity at that castle. I mean, you did a
that was how we were learning.
Where I played the penguin.
Yeah,
everybody got to play a bat character somewhere in that video. You did a great fake trailer for Thundercats, where I actually dressed up as Snarf. I remember.
Yeah. So those videos that we were doing, and they all had a purpose, but nobody was really doing fan videos back then. But Wizard Magazine was doing those straight to video contests, and we had the best movie set in the world at Skull Kingdom, and the owners and managers just let us do whatever the hell we wanted. So it was like, hey, can we stay after work and do a Thundercat video? Yeah, go ahead. Can we do a Batman video next week? Yeah, whatever. Just lock up when you're done. Okay.
And I remember Monday Night D&D. Very fond memories.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's nothing like playing Dungeons and Dragons in an actual castle.
In an actual skull castle.
Yeah, exactly. So, but again, that's what was so great about the place. Yeah. Imagine playing D&D in that.
There you go. That's the daytime picture.
Yep.
So now you are the creative director for Gatorland.
Yes.
And you're doing events there. I saw your Bigfoot. Alan, did you have a hand in the Bigfoot, the skunk ape?
I did not have a hand in his Bigfoot.
Okay.
He did our Swamp Ghost character that we have, and he's doing some of our cryptids that we're going to be putting out this year. But the skunk ape was actually by Ed and Marcia from Distortions Unlimited.
Okay.
And
I think she's gonna put a picture up here of your skunk ape. There he is.
That's my brother, and who also worked at Skull Kingdom, and my sister-in-law in the picture with him. And skunk ape is like a son to me. I'll just say that. Pretty close with him. And so I'm very proud of that character. We introduced him at our Halloween event in 2019. 2020 came along, pandemic happened, and someone at Gatorland Savannah Bowen came in, and someone she worked at the Real Radio, Carlos, said, you guys should do like, social distancing skunk ape. So we're like, yeah, let's go with that. So we made him our social distancing mascot during the pandemic, and it took off. Like CNN,
that's the front of Gatorland,
like national attention for that, and people were very excited to see him. We did these great commercials with skunk ape, like throwing, like ripping hand sanitizer off the wall and hitting people with it if they didn't use it, and like tossing people apart so it's social distance, and people went crazy for it. So it's very neat.
You can almost reuse all of the office linebacker gags. Do them as social distance skunk ape.
And what was funny is we'd have guests come and say, if we don't social distance, the skunk ape going to come run out and throw us? And it's like, no, it's not. It's like, it's not like that. But, so yeah, but people loved it. It went really good. And skunk ape will be at Gators, Ghosts, and Goblins, which is the Halloween event that opens this Saturday at Gatorland every weekend in October. And he has his own section. So it's the Crocs and Cryptids section. So there's cryptids hidden throughout the Jungle Crocs of the World exhibit, and you have to go find all of them and take a picture and show our cryptozoologist so you can get your cryptozoologist certificate. So pretty fun.
Okay, for the audience members that don't know what cryptozoology is,
Alan, tell them about it. Wolfie, go ahead.
A species that has not been cataloged yet.
A species that has not been cataloged, identified, or a species that is misplaced. A cryptid, like in Texas, we have kangaroo cryptids because we're not supposed to have kangaroos, but every now and then someone sees a kangaroo. So cryptids are those kind of things. You're not supposed to see Bigfoot all over the place, but we do.
You're sure they're not a chupacabra?
Well, you only see those in certain areas. So and only since the 50s. Chupacabras are pretty new on the cryptid spectrum.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Dan, was the cryptid that you were talking about that looks like a baby, was it a melon head?
No, it's a Puggywog.
Pugwudgie?
Pugwudgie, that's it.
Okay.
Pugwudgie.
Sorry, we were discussing something earlier, and I'm like, which one looks like a baby? What are you talking about?
Pugwudgie. That's what we did. So
you'll have to send us a picture.
And so going back to cryptids he did, we used a mask that the goblin mask you sent us a couple of years ago and made the Pugwudgie out of that. It came out really good.
Great.
So thanks for that.
So you're still working together.
All the time. Yep.
Alan is in his studio. Now, Alan, you started with Stilt Beasts, making stilt costumes, very good stilt costumes. I think we have a couple of pictures of these, and hopefully we'll bring them up in just a second.
I started right about 2000 is when I started Stilt Beast Studios.
Yeah, and you were still at Skull Kingdom at that time. Yeah.
I left Skull Kingdom either January 2001 or January 2000. Yeah, I love stilts. Anything that can change out the human form. Yeah. Like this is a snowman costume.
I ordered one of these. I have one of these.
It doesn't look like a person, and that's what's good about it is that it's so easy for an actor to hide in it if you don't think it looks like a person. Yeah. I'm fascinated with anything that makes people move in a different way, like stilts. I've done a lot of characters on rollerblades.
Your hand and arm extensions.
Arm extensions. Anything to break that human form.
Yeah, I remember your abominable snowman had finger extensions. Yeah.
And this is an actor on stilts here, which is they're on 24-inch stilts, and they've got a giant muscle suit on underneath just to make them bigger. That's another stilt costume there. It's a tree spirit type character. They're just a lot of fun. And, stilts are kind of a portable stage. If your actor is worth putting on stage, then you might as well put them on stilts.
There you go.
That's accurate. And and what's great about that too, is that if you're somewhere, let's say you're at a Ren Fair or something like that, and other people are in costumes, like the guests are in costumes, you're still towering above them. Like you're just able to gather everyone in and put them in front of you, and you know, it's so you don't have to fight to be the main character with them when you're on stilts. You know, like you really are just on stage the whole time.
He loves werewolves.
That werewolf found the strawberry jam. He really had a messy
There's a Cyclops.
You know what? I've actually got that one. I'm working on one of those right now, right here. So this is that mask.
Let's take a closer look at that.
That is.
I was going to ask you to show us some stuff in your studio there.
Not painted.
I want to point out something about Wolfie's sculpting that I love. Where there's there's obviously a lot of masks out there where they can be very realistic and stuff like that. But Wolfie, with the way that he sculpts and stuff, when they're in the dark and in low light situations and stuff, his sculpts like capture the highlights and stuff like so well, and you can really see like what's coming at you, and those details like pop so good. Like I really love it. Like he has a great style. Especially for haunts.
Most masks and costumes are painted to sell either on the showroom floor or in a Halloween store. Right. So they're painted to sell in that light. And anytime you have that type of a paint job that looks good in that light, in low light, it's going to become a little muddy. So I just tend to paint a little higher contrast, and that higher contrast turns into blocks of color when you put it into low light. So you get the separation of areas that just reads a little better.
Yeah. The eyes really pop out.
But you're trained to look that going back to that primal thing that he's talking about. You're trained to look for eyes. Like your brain subconsciously is always you see faces in clouds, you see them in trees, but that's how you stayed alive back then, was by something looking at you to eat you. You're looking for the eyes. And he makes sure that you find the eyes. So
and the Easter bunny. My favorite.
Another thing that I do on my mask that a lot of folks don't, and I'm not saying it's better, it's just different, is that I paint my teeth really white, and I leave my teeth white, because what I want is that character to jump out and scare you, and then as they back up and they retreat into darkness, the last thing you see is those teeth. As they retreat into darkness, I want the last thing you see is those teeth just fading out. So that's why the teeth are often the brightest thing on the mask. And it's not very realistic. They should be a little yellowed and stained, but in those low light situations, they're not going to pop as well.
And I'm all about the teeth.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Dan used to make so much fun of me because of my teeth.
It's like you'd come back with you'd come to work with another set of fake teeth and then build your entire costume around the teeth.
Yep.
It's like, hey, I found these are great. I think I'm gonna be a gunslinger cowboy zombie. And it's like, okay, Rory. like other people find like a hat or a costume or prop or whatever. You're like, I found these teeth. It's like, all right.
I always start with the teeth. Now they know here.
Yep.
As well, that I always start with the teeth. Can you show us some more stuff that's on the table there? I'd like you to.
So the thing about a shop like mine is that it's October. Everything I made is gone. It's already at someone's haunted house. But so this is a bear sculpt. Mm-hmm. All right. So this is my bear sculpt. And I sculpt them without ears so that I can change it up. You saw a polar bear, I think, a little while ago.
Right. The bloody polar bear. Yeah.
But this has been a Cujo mount. So I made a Cujo out of this because, the head shape and the size is right.
Floppy ears.
I sculpted this so that I can make one of my dream projects, the bear from the movie The Prophecy.
Prophecy, yes.
Yes, not the Christopher Walken Prophecy of the 90s, the one of the 70s with the giant mutant bear.
Robert Foxworthy?
I'm going to make that stilt costume of that mutant bear. So that's why I made this, but I haven't had a chance to make that yet.
There was a great scene in that with a guy trying to get away, and he was in a sleeping bag.
Yes.
And the bear just obliterated the sleeping bag, feathers everywhere.
Some of my favorite kills in horror movies is when someone's in a sleeping bag and the monster or the person picks up the sleeping bag and just smacks them against a tree a bunch. Like that, few things make me happier than that.
They did that in Jason 10 too, or Jason X.
I laughed so hard at those because they're fun, and it isn't like 10 movies where that happens. Jason does it, I think, in part 3. But another horror movie scene that shouldn't be funny, but I find it hilarious: the telephone pole scene in Hereditary. I laughed and I laughed. My goodness, funny stuff. This is a hammerhead shark.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a hammerhead shark on camera. What do I do? All right. So yeah, but this is fun. I do a bunch of nautical masks because there's just not enough of them. So there's resin teeth that fit in here. I haven't put the teeth in. There's a need
for it.
And then the actor will see through all of these little cutout holes there.
You said you had an Anubis back there earlier?
This is an Anubis, and this was actually sculpted by a friend of mine named Ian. The Anubis that I sculpted actually showed up in a picture a little while ago when you guys were scrolling through. That was an Anubis that I made. But this is one very much with the big jackal ears. It's just a nice tight sculpture.
Yeah.
3/4
mask, huh?
Well, mostly what I do is I make half masks because it's very easy to turn a half mask into a whole head mask. You can either turn it into a sock mask or you can add straps and hair. But mostly what I do is half masks, and then I turn them into a full head one way or another. Because often you can get away with not sculpting the back of the head. And this is an apocalypse helmet. This is a bunch. These are very popular this year. Well, a couple years, where it's EVA foam, and I do the whole build out of EVA foam, and it's just nice. You can add a lot of details. You can paint them a lot of different ways.
Rory, are you familiar with EVA foam?
What's that, Dan?
What's that?
Rory? Are you familiar with what EVA foam is? Like, do you ever?
That's a. They make like pool.
It's floor mats.
Right?
Floor mats.
Yeah, it's like when you
like those puzzle piece floor mats that lock together that you put on.
Right.
Yeah. And he's making helmets out of that, like that.
So you can just spray that with regular paint.
Yes, because it is not an EPS foam, which is extruded polystyrene or expanded polystyrene,
which will disintegrate when you put paint on it.
Yeah, right. Spray paint eats those, but it doesn't. I'll show you something else. This is a sneak peek I have a YouTube channel where every Wednesday I put out a how-to video for different Halloween stuff. This is a sneak peek of Wednesday's video.
So look up Alan Hops on YouTube. His channel is out there.
But this whole spooky tree, this whole spooky tree is EVA foam.
Oh, that's funny. So kids can play on it.
No.
But can they use the tree as a flotation device?
You could use the tree as a flotation device.
That's awesome.
Which oddly is what you can do with actual trees too.
Right. That's true too.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we make a lot of fun stuff. One of my favorite builds this year was I had someone ask for a zombie Buzz Lightyear.
That came out so good.
I made the full suit with everything.
Here's my issue with this guy, right? Is he sends me this picture of this amazing Buzz Lightyear costume that he made. And I'm like, wow, dude, that's awesome. Really good costume. A week later, he shows me another picture of it, and it's all ripped up and blood all over it. It's like all rusted and black goo, but it just destroyed it. Like,
I finished it. I made it better.
He finished it.
I want to see a picture.
Pristine, amazing Buzz Lightyear, and then just made it terrifying. It's awesome and disturbing, but it was just, watching him.
So many kids are going to cry.
Well, and again, I just watched the episode of What If, Marvel's What If, that had, half the Avengers turned into zombies. It was hysterical. And again, Wolfie, you should see it if you haven't seen it yet, because it'll give you a lot of ideas.
I will. I'll start checking that out. I think I saw the first one, and that was it.
Yeah, they did a Marvel Zombies.
Well, here's the thing: there's another show called What If, starring Renee Zellweger, and I watched the first 2 episodes of that, wondering what the hell is this? This is supposed to be Marvel Universe right?
Oh no!
But it was another
was
show
not.
from like 2 years ago.
No, you got to look. It's what if with three dots and a
Three
question
dots
mark.
after.
I'm gonna run and
question
grab
mark,
something to show you guys. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's what you need to watch for is the 3 dots and a question mark.
Yeah, because that one was definitely not Marvel Universe. Now,
Yeah.
this is Dan's. You do a lot of graphic art for different things.
Yeah.
And you love the Ghostbusters. So this
Love
is your homage to the
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's just some digital paintings that I did. So
These are fantastic, man. These are
thank
great.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
So if you need any graphic art for anything, not just Halloween, but anything, yeah, look up Dan Carro.
Let me know.
Gozer. I love it that she went with the Sheena Easton look.
Yeah. So yeah, I plan to finish that series and eventually do the Subway Ghost. I got to do Stay Puffed and the Scolari Brothers. So
Scolari Brothers.
yeah, so I gotta get to that. I've just been busy, you know.
So the new one's coming out. When is that coming out? Soon, right?
No, November, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep pushing it back, so
Yeah, I'm
I'm
looking
not getting
forward
my
to
hopes
it.
up, but hopefully November. Yeah. So I'm excited. It looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan said he was going to go get something. What was that?
Alan's getting something, and he's been gone a while, so I'm nervous. I don't know.
He's excited, so it must be good.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got planned here. So I'll see. Oh, here you
There
go.
it goes.
He's
I
back.
feel bad because I don't have a lot of like finished stuff here, but I have a few things in my booth.
So he ran off and made those real quick off camera.
Right.
And now he's back to show you what he
He
made.
just whipped them up for us.
Yeah.
So this is a black wolfman, black-haired wolfman that I made out of an orc sculpt that I did a while back. I just think he's a lot of fun.
It reminds me of the wolf from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes, I kind of took the coloring
Yeah.
from that. I took the coloring from that because I like.
Do not see me.
This is all right. Many people are not aware of how lonely it gets at the North Pole. And
Or
Santa,
Wolfie's shop.
Thank you, Bob.
listen, Santa is not, he's not like one person. That's a little ridiculous. So it's a whole family. But in order to keep the Santa magic in the family, a lot of inbreeding happens.
Okay, see,
So the
you're out to
reason,
ruin Christmas.
the reason
every
that
time.
Santa comes at night is because of how inbred he is.
You are
An inbred Santa mask
a terrible person.
right here.
Santa goes to West Virginia.
Doug would not approve of that.
Right
He's
there.
watching. He's groaning
You-
right now.
See, first off, this is part of Wolfie Hops's assault on Christmas.
When they say that Santa keeps his eye on you, he means that little one right there.
He
That's
brought
the thing.
Krampus to the United States. I don't care what anybody says. Like 15 years ago, he's like, "This is Krampus," and he's like been pushing it and selling the masks, and now
No
Krampus,
one knew what Krampus was.
big thing in the United States, thanks to Alan Hops. And now the next thing we have to contend with is inbred Santa.
Inbred
Way to
Santa.
go, Wolfie.
Inbred Santa's coming to town.
Honest to goodness, man, there's inbred Santa parades happening in every city in the U.S. because of you. I'm
Oh
gonna be mad.
boy.
You're getting a wedgie.
And more on a positive note, I love the Batman outfits behind you, Dan, in your Bat Cave there.
Thanks.
Those are nice.
Yeah, that was my dream, was to have a bat cave one day.
And you did it.
I
And
have
that's
a very,
what this show was all about. You guys are living your dream.
yeah.
And
I have a very patient wife.
that's phenomenal.
Her office has a secret bookshelf door that I used to get into my office, and she's a lovely woman that let me do that. And yeah, I'm living the dream.
I
Wow.
used to close my comedy routine by telling everybody, you have a little kid in each and every one of you. Don't let anybody take that away from you, you know. And it's true. And again, you guys are proof of that. So I want to thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your dream with us. And good luck to you with the Gatorland event this month. And
Thank
I know
you.
Christmas is coming up. I know you got a Gatorland event in Christmas.
If you
Yeah.
need an inbred
And,
Santa, let me know.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk later. Thanks a lot.
And
Super
Alan,
Swamp Santa.
Again, hats off to you with your business and what you're doing. And as Dan was telling me before the show, you're very generous and you're teaching and you're going around and showing people what you do and how to do it right. And that's great. That's phenomenal. So thanks again, guys, for coming on. If you want to swing in on the 26th, we can't get everybody on the screen at the same time, but we're having kind of a Skull Kingdom reunion on the 26th. And I'll send you the link so you can sneak in if you want.
Sounds great.
That'd be great.
All right.
Very good.
Take care, guys.
Bye. Thank you. It was fun.